Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu rejecting calls for a ceasefire yesterday, saying Israel will continue its war against Hamas, quote, until victory. And this is a time for war. The Biden administration reacting to those ceasefire calls yesterday. Watch this.
We do not believe that a ceasefire is the right answer right now. We believe that a ceasefire right now benefits Hamas. And Hamas is the only one that would gain from that right now.
Well, joining me now, Global Guardian CEO, former Green Beret, and retired U.S. Army Colonel Dale Buckner. Sir, good morning. This op-ed coming out from Benjamin Netanyahu, and of course those comments we heard from him yesterday, absolutely unequivocally, no ceasefire. The goal remains the same for the destruction of Hamas. Your thoughts on what you've seen so far happening between Israel and Hamas?
Cheryl, I think very simply put, Netanyahu is facing a military threat and has an agenda. You've got a political agenda in conflict of that. You have humanitarian efforts that are in conflict with that. Ultimately, there's no easy answer. But as you think of that kind of terrain, which the administration is also facing, the military agenda is going to be prioritized right now in the short term over all other agendas, which means ultimately these different agendas, all the way from the tactical level to all the way to the strategic level, they're non-compatible, which means ultimately this will be very messy, as no matter what decisions are made, there will be room for criticisms globally. But ultimately, if you are Netanyahu, you're going to prioritize that military agenda and your end state over everything else.
And he's made that very clear. He says, and the U.S. would not have agreed to a ceasefire after the bombing of Pearl Harbor or 9/11. Israel will not agree to a cessation of hostilities. So the IDF forces and the Israeli Securities Authority did announce that they did kill a commander, a Hamas commander, who they say directed the October 7th attack. The Israeli military struck about 300 targets. That's happened just in the last 24 hours. That's Hamas compounds, that's inside the tunnel system, anti-tank missile, rocket launch post. So your reaction, because as we watch the continual bombardment by the rockets into Gaza, we have to remember that there are still over 200 hostages that are likely in those tunnels.
Yep. So I think number one, when you think about timing, it took the United States over 3 weeks to strike into Afghanistan after 9/11. We stayed 20 years. We're just past the 3-week mark. This is going to go on for months to years. There'll be effects for years from this conflict. Ultimately, Netanyahu is right in stating that the United States would do no different. I think that's obvious. Two, when you think about the killing of a commander, is it going to move the needle in the short term in the conflict? No. But it is, number one, bringing people to justice. Number two, it is part of a long campaign, but it will not ultimately move the needle in the short term. It's simply part of the terrain. And the ultimate kind of takeaway from that is this for us. It showcases that the intelligence networks are working, and that if you think about this as a light switch, you turn that light switch on of intelligence, the intelligence gathering is working when you can target someone that precisely 3 weeks into the conflict.
Joe Pinion's on set with me. Joe, go ahead.
Yeah, obviously, you look at what's happened here. There seems to be a ton of misinformation online, mixed messaging coming from the White House. But I wonder if you could put it in context for the audience. When you look at the actual carnage committed by Hamas, over 30 Americans now believed dead, people from 35 different countries, either dead or reported missing. If you look at that in the broader scheme of atrocities that have been committed in recent history, why is it that it seems very difficult for people to understand this is not your run-of-the-mill attack that should be deserving of what we call a proportional response?
Yeah, I think, look, the Middle East is hard. When you think about the terrain there, I spent several years of my life there. Unless you've lived there, it's really hard to grasp how people live there and the way people view these events. I think globally, you're seeing the response. It's in every major city around the world. People are choosing sides politically. Now, every major conflict in the world, you're going to see people choose sides and protest. It's quite natural. I don't think there's anything different with this. conflict. The one thing that is unique that I think has created a lot of emotion globally is that the Gaza Strip is a very small area. It's a bit of a box, and it appears that we are trying to make warfare clean, if you will, by separating and targeting Hamas while minimizing civilian casualties. It's impossible. It's almost an impossible task to do that. There are going to be casualties on both sides. And I do think because this is in such a tight area that there is this concept that this should just stop. We should stop this because civilians are in the way and all of this should go away. The simple reality is that's not real.
And now U.S. forces are more and more on their way there. The carrier group that's off the. I mean, there's just a lot happening. A lot of it we don't know about that's not being reported. Colonel Dale Buckner. Colonel, thank you so much.
Thank you.